Okay, hey, it's the Abstractionist. This is going to be like a quick video, I guess. So it's about Pluto and Aquarius and moving into different realities. So essentially, my car glitched this past Thursday. Whenever I have a lot of technological stuff, yeah, Mercury retrograde was ending. So it was kind of that, but whenever I have glitches like that, or just glitches in general, I know that something shifted, right? Something electronic glitches. I know I've shifted reality or something like that. Even if I don't see it right away, it's happening, it's on its way, this change is on its way. So I knew that once it happened. And also I didn't freak out this time like I normally would have. I just calmly went the alternate route, and yeah, it got resolved. The issue got resolved, so I'm like happy about that, right? But it got me thinking, and I've been thinking about this for a while, that like we're going to be time jumping into new realities. I think the people who've done a significant amount of work on themselves to manifest or bring about greater experiences, deepening experiences, consciousness expanding experiences, I think they'll start jumping into new time zones and new time realities because of the work that you've done. I think people who are doing ancestral work and undoing those ancestral cycles and patterns, like they can recognize ancestral cycles and patterns, will be rewarded when Pluto officially fully goes into Aquarius and like stays there essentially. I think that a lot of the people who don't, they'll just have to, I feel like they'll just pass it on to their kids, unfortunately, but their children most likely will be the ones that deal with the cycles, particularly familial cycles and cycles regarding like abundance and identity, but the ways in which identity holds you back from abundance. So I was watching, what's his name, Steve Judd. I enjoy watching him, but I've been thinking about this for a while. It's just going to be a really interesting time at the next 20 years with people who have grown and I guess taken healing and growth very seriously and actually put in the work to do it. Another thing that I've been thinking about, and I gotta do another Pluto and Aquarius video, but it's the more conspiracy theory side, but the more like serious side, I guess, of it, is that like the idea of like an alter ego, a double life, what that looks like, and then kind of living it and understanding that you can have very different interests within yourself and to not, I guess, let it fade. So how I ended up thinking about this was I graduated like massage school and now I'm a massage therapist, but then I've gone back to school to get my MFA in creative writing. And one of the projects I want to do with creative writing though is through sound, using sound, poetry, like merging them together. And I was like, well, I guess I'll become like a pop star. So to speak, like this pop kind of person, like a singer or something like that, a performer essentially, because poetry usually, if you're reading, you have to perform it, but not like how we know performances to be with like bands or singers and stuff like that, but you perform your poetry, you're reading it, you know, you're reading your poetry. And I thought like, wow, I have these two things that I'm equally interested in. I guess I'll lean into both. but it kind of comes up. My Venus is also being aspected with Uranus, and so it's kind of like all these things I'm interested in, like fashion, art, and poetry, writing and music, and like all these things that I'm interested in are like coming out, like the things that I really enjoyed consistently throughout my life, which is like art, fashion, design, film, whatever, like all that, the arts essentially. They're finding a more prominent place in my life. Massage is also, but I'm going back to some of that stuff, and it lets me know that I'm on the right track. But the point of this video is that there's people out there who are on this particular path, and then they're going to suddenly switch it up, and people will think that like they've completely abandoned their old self, and really I think they've just kind of become more of who they were, and integrating and accepting these weird parts of ourselves. Like I feel like we're gonna have like people have like regular, boring, normal jobs, but then like what they do outside of that could be completely extraordinary, completely just like unlike them, or it shows a side of them that we never really get to see, and it could be very public with that Aquarius kind of thing, and Pluto being a generational planet. Like it will be for more eyes to see. I do think that we will kind of have this split between people who kind of go more and more and more online, and that has its positives and negatives, but there will be people who do more and more in person, and so you'll kind of have those things. But whichever way we go, I feel like people have these alternate personality states or alternate career states that they need to realize and live, and I feel like you're gonna see people become what they really wanted to be, perhaps who they really wanted to be, what they really wanted to do, where they really wanted to go, and living their personal truths. And it's going to be very interesting because I feel like the Venus and Uranus aspect could bring a whole bunch of changes to how people just present themselves out in the world. You know, with myself personally, I've already started changing my wardrobe, and not even just because it's going to be fall. I genuinely like these things. I genuinely like this idea. And for part of it, because my moon is in Leo, it's a projected image. That may be another thing. The projected image of what we want, because we're closing in on Pisces, is becoming more apparent too. And so the danger would be, is this who you really are? Is this what you really want to do? And are you being projected upon to present yourself a certain way? And what benefit are you getting to do that? If you stop, what happens? Like, do you become this martyr, discarded, and just discarded essentially? What is happening there? And so yeah, you may have like an alternate life, like that you actually live though. And I think with Aquarius and Pisces, it's kind of like alternate lives in your head that you never get to realize. I feel like with this Pluto and Capricorn energy kind of wrapping up for real, you may be able to actually live those lives. And I would like to see if there's any psychological studies that'll come out about people who follow their passions. It's not even a time thing of like 20 years later he decided to go for this or they decided to go for that. You know, they were a dentist and now they're a cellist. You know, is it a cellist? I think it is. You know, she was a real estate agent and now she makes beret. What is it, berets? Yeah. And sells them on Instagram or Etsy or something like that. I feel like it's not just that. it's just opening up the widest road of possibilities for you based on you exploring yourself enough. And you don't have to like have waited all this time and then change, but are you willing to change? Are you willing to put yourself out in the world and be this you that you know that you are, but may not have experienced being because like you haven't experienced it in the world being who you are? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these questions of how real you're being with yourself in this alternate path, on this alternate space. They're just questions that are popping up. I kind of lost where I was going with what I was saying. But yeah, that's basically it. I think that we're going to start seeing a lot of alternate lives. Yeah, split lives. Split, not personalities as far as like psychology is concerned, but I think split personalities is in you were this kind of person in this setting and this kind of person in this setting, which is completely natural. But I think it'll be hyper focused on like a creative pursuit or something that you explain, put out into the world, as opposed to more internal machinations happening. So yeah, I feel like I need to write this as opposed to doing a video about it. I don't know. It's almost 2 o'clock, so that's probably why it's not as focused. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoy this video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.